You don't need a shop full of really expensive tools or overcomplicated jigs to get started in woodworking. Over the years, I've discovered some incredible but very simple jigs that make woodworking faster, safer, and so much easier. So today I'm going to show you how to make 7 jigs that you can make in a single afternoon. Now, even though these jigs are incredibly simple, several of them can completely replace much more expensive tools and equipment. So let's start this thing off with an awesome jig that is going to completely change the way you use your random orbital sander. Now, random orbital sanders like these are great for sanding things like cutting boards or large pieces of furniture. Their small and compact design makes it easy to maneuver over a large surface area, and you can cover a lot of ground pretty quickly. But if you've ever tried to sand a small part with one of these, you know how difficult and frustrating that can be. For handling these smaller parts, most people would buy a benchtop disc sander or an oscillating sander. These are stationary tools that you bring the wood to the sander, and this is great for small parts, but these can cost hundreds of dollars. Now, unless you're using these large sanders pretty often, they end up just taking up a lot of valuable shop space. But what if I told you there's a quick, simple, and basically free way to turn your handheld random orbital sander into a stationary disc sander? And all you need is a few pieces of plywood. You need to cut 2 pieces that are 5 inches by 6 inches and 2 more pieces that are about 2.5 by 6 inches. Now I need some way to mount this sander into this little box we're making, and I'm thinking kind of a wide slot in the top of this box will work just about right. Actually, this spray paint can is like the perfect size that we need, so I'll just trace this around to give us the slot that we need. Now we just need to extend those lines and we can cut this out over at the bandsaw. All right, now this jig is so simple, but it is so awesome what this allows you to do. Basically, we can take our sander and turn it upside down and slide it in here, and now it's cradled within the jig, which turns our random orbital sander into a disc sander for shaping and smoothing small parts. Now this is really great for batching out small projects like coasters or cutting boards. You can very quickly get everything rounded over and smooth with a disc sander like this. Now I've tried this with all of my sanders. I know this works perfect with both my DeWalt's and my Festool sanders. If you're using a different brand, just double check the dimensions to make sure it'll work, but I'm pretty certain this will work for pretty much any sander on the market. On to the next jig. All right, now this next jig has saved me hours over the years. Now, anytime you need to drill a bunch of pilot holes for like attaching drawer pulls or the little feet on cutting boards, it can take a lot of time to actually measure and mark each one individually. Now, this is where a jig called a drill guide can really come in and save your bacon. Now, you could buy a drill guide, but why spend the money when you can make one in just a couple of minutes? All you need for this is just a couple scraps of wood, and a piece about 3 or 4 inches is going to work great. It's not that critical. For this, I'm going to be attaching some small cutting board feet, so I'm measuring about a 1/2 inch from the corner. All right, so now we need to drill a hole in our jig, and it's important that we use the same size drill bit that we're going to be using for the pilot holes for our screws. Now, we want to make sure that this is as straight up and down as possible, so that we have an accurate jig. Now, if you have a drill press, this is the ideal tool to use so that you get the drill bit straight up and down when you're making the hole. But don't worry, if you don't have a drill press, I have a simple trick that I'll show you that you can still get a very accurate hole in the jig. All you have to do is place a square upright next to where you're going to be drilling the hole. This gives you a visual reference to help keep your drill bit straight up and down.
Simple, but effective.
Now you just need to add 2 small pieces to act as a fence on each side adjacent to the hole we just made. To use the jig, just place it over your cutting board and pull it tight into the corner. Now you can drill your pilot hole. Careful to set your drill bit depth properly so you don't end up drilling right through the top of the cutting board. Don't ask me how I know that. Now, instead of having to stop and measure each hole, you can drill perfectly accurate pilot holes in seconds. This is such a huge time saver and makes your projects look much more consistent and professional. Ask any group of woodworkers what is the most intimidating tool in the shop, and the majority of them are going to tell you it's not the table saw. No, it's actually the router table. And if you've ever had the unfortunate experience of having a board ripped out of your hands and slung across the shop, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's about an 8.5 on the pucker factor scale. Now, the best way to prevent this is to have good control of the workpiece as it's going through the bit. Narrow boards don't have enough surface area to get good register on the fence, so there's no way to hold it secure. This allows the board to move and twist, which can cause a kickback. But I have an easy, safe solution that'll give you total control and give you much more confidence at the router table. Just grab yourself a piece of plywood that's about 10 to 12 inches square. Now glue on a smaller piece about 2 inches wide on a diagonal across the square. Now this simple jig makes a massive difference. You have a large surface area for both registering your workpiece and against the fence on the router. And the diagonal handhold lets you push the piece forward and into the fence, reducing chatter and the risk of kickback. And as a bonus, the jig provides adequate support on the back side of the board, reducing tear out and giving you a much smoother, cleaner cut. Now, a drill press is a really great tool to have in the shop, even if it's a smaller benchtop model like this one. But a really good upgrade for even a small drill press is a fence to keep the boards from getting caught by the bit and swinging around out of control. Now, to build the fence, you just need a piece of plywood about 8 or 9 inches square. Mark a line 2 inches from one edge, then glue on a small piece of plywood on the line to be the fence. Be sure to reinforce the fence with a couple of countersunk screws. Now we could use this jig as is and just clamp it to the table and it would work perfectly, but we can actually make this thing so much better with a couple of magnets. After drilling a couple of holes with the Forstner bit, we're going to attach a couple of these mag switch magnets. Now these are really neat because they have this switch on top that turns them on and off so that you can enable and disable the magnet. Now you can just position the fence anywhere you need it and just enable the magnets. Super easy. Now, a lot of beginners start out working with pre-milled lumber that has already been milled flat and square. However, that gets very expensive because you're paying someone else to do all of that work milling up the lumber for you. Switching to rough cut lumber can save you a ton of money, but it creates another problem. Now, how are you going to mill these boards flat and square? Now, this is typically done with 2 machines. You have a joiner like this, which will flatten one face and square one edge. And then a planer that will flatten the opposite face parallel to the first and get the boards down to thickness. Buying both of these machines can get very expensive, so I get asked all the time, do I really need both? And if not, which one should I buy first? Well, I suggest buying the planer first, and then there's a really simple, inexpensive jig that you can build that will completely eliminate the need for the joiner. Now, to build this, you just need a piece of sheet good that's about 12 inches wide and a little bit longer than the boards you're trying to mill up. Now, I'm using a piece of melamine, but you could use MDF or plywood if that's what you have. Now attach a thin strip of wood to one end of the sled to act as a stop and keep your board from getting shot out the planer. Now set your board you want to mill on the sled and place it firmly up against the stop. You'll probably see that it doesn't sit very flat. Now, if you want your board to be straighter than those Home Depot rejects, we're going to have to prevent the board from moving around as it's going through the planer. Slide some thin shims underneath the board to take up the gaps and to stabilize the board. And then to secure those shims in place, we'll just use a little bit of hot glue. All right, now that we've got the board secured to our jig, we just run this whole thing through our planer and flatten this face.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And now that we have one flat face, we don't need this jig anymore, so we can just pop this board off the jig and then run it back through the planer to flatten the other face. So using this jig saves you tons of money and valuable shop space. Now, because this method does take longer, eventually you may want to step up to a joiner, but now you know that you don't have to have one. It's not a requirement to start using rough lumber and saving on your material costs. And since we're talking about saving money, I get comments from people all the time telling me they wish they could buy the tools that I have. And well, the truth is, I bought most of my tools at a massive discount. And no, it's not because I make videos on YouTube. No, in fact, you can buy the tools the same way I do if you know where to look and how to get the best prices. Just as an example, I was able to get this saw stop table saw for less than half the retail price with a couple of extra blades and a crosscut sled thrown in for free. So check the link in the video description below for a free guide on buying used and heavily discounted tools. I'll show you where to look, how to make sure you're getting the best tool for the best prices, and some of the negotiation tricks that I use to get the best deals. Again, this costs you nothing, and I'm giving this information away completely free. A link is in the description if you want to get it, or you can go to my website, biscuittreewoodworks.com. Now, to finish milling up our board, we can't just run this board through the table saw as is. Because these edges are rough and not straight, you could end up wedging the board between the fence and the saw blade, and that can cause a dangerous kickback. So instead, we need a jig that can run along this fence and keep this board straight going through the blade to clean up the edge. For this jig, I'm just going to cut a piece of plywood about 4 inches wide and a little bit longer than the board that I'm milling. Then I need to attach a small foot to the back of the jig to help push the board through the saw. Now with our board and the jig running together along the fence, we can rip off this rough edge on our board and complete the milling process. Just be sure to use a feather board to keep everything tight against the fence. So these 2 jigs that you could literally build in like 5 minutes can save you hundreds of dollars by completely replacing a joiner and allowing you to mill your own rough lumber with just a planer and a table saw. But what if I told you there's another jig that could even replace the table saw? Track saws have become a huge game changer for woodworkers in the last few years, and for some people even going as far as completely replacing their table saw. Now they work just like a circular saw, but thanks to the track, they're very fast to set up and accurate, and they always cut in a perfectly straight line. And that's an absolute must for me because my freehand cuts look more like a winding dirt road than an actual straight line. But as I'm sure you know, track saws can be a bit pricey and it may be outside the budget for most beginner woodworkers. But that doesn't mean that you can't have the benefits of a track saw at a fraction of the cost. For years, I've used a simple jig to turn my lowly circular saw into a high precision DIY track saw. So let me show you how simple it is to make this jig. To build this, you just need a couple of pieces of plywood or MDF, and to get the most out of the saw capacity, I recommend using 1/2 inch thick material. Now you'll need one piece that's about 11 inches wide for the base and one that's about 3 inches wide for your guide rail. Now the length depends on how big of a track you need, but I suggest you build several of different lengths so that you have a long track for cutting down full sheets of plywood and then some shorter tracks for some of the smaller tasks that you'll do. Now I have a really simple trick for you where you can get 3 of these tracks for the price of 2. Just build 2 tracks that are both 8 feet long. You're going to keep one of them at 8 feet long, but the other one you're going to cut into 2 sections, one 5 foot and one 3 foot. This gives you 3 tracks, a small, medium, and large, so that you can deal with a variety of tasks. Now, if you don't have a table saw to cut the plywood down to size, I did make a video showing you how to make these with just the circular saw, so be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link down in the description for you. Now to assemble the track, just glue the 3-inch guide board onto your 11-inch track base, leaving about 2 inches on one side for clamping. And once the glue dries, run your circular saw down the guide board, cutting away the excess on the track, and it's going to create a zero clearance for you. Now you have a simple DIY track for your circular saw for cutting down sheets of plywood or even joining lumber. All right, I've got one more jig to tell you about today, and in my opinion, it is the most essential jig in any woodworker's shop, definitely in mine. In fact, it's so important that I think it should be the first thing that any woodworker builds the moment they get a table saw. So be sure to go over here and check out this video where I tell you all about it and exactly how to build your own. I'll see you then.